Welcome to the Fantasy Happy Hour. Fantasy Happy Hour. Presented by Sportsneak. With your hosts, Justin Sauce and Terry Licious. Starting in 3, 2, 1.
Boom, there we go. We're on to week 7 here, Fantasy Happy Hour. We got the 2-4 New Orleans Saints versus the 2-4 Arizona Cardinals. I got this weird hair that's somewhere on my hat or head that I cannot get rid of. Big week here, Taryn. As you were saying right before we started recording, we got quite a potentially exciting one. We were coming off back-to-back snoozer Thursday nighters. Last week was the big money maker, was the Justin Fields captain, along with Commanders defense, Wentz, the kicker. It was an interesting lineup. So if you captained Fields, you were probably sitting in some money, because I know I woke up to some cash and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I did not think I was doing anything here. But lots of news for this one, Taryn. Not sure. Hopefully you're caught up on it. I think we got D-Hop coming back into it off his suspension. We got Robbie Anderson traded to the Cardinals. Let us know what you got for week 7 Thursday here.
Well, it's kind of an interesting week and lots of news. I'm going to touch on news here, but let's start with talking about these are two teams 2-4, but still in it with their divisions. The leader in both those divisions is 3-3, so they're real tight. So this is a good game to win for either of these teams. Cardinals have been disappointing so far, I think, for most people's kind of outlook on how they were coming into this season. Injury news is huge here. I got a long list, but I'll try to be fast. Jameis Winston, Q-tag, likely not going to play. If he does play, there's rumors he won't even start, so I would stay away there. Looks like Dalton, Taysom Hill combo back again for this week, and possibly for the long term. James Conner and Darrell Williams both didn't play last week, running backs for the Cardinals here. Likely not going to play is what I've read so far. I mean, there's a chance, but short week, they might rest them. So that could mean Eno Benjamin is the lead back. Hollywood Brown was walking in a boot after that game. X-rays came back negative. But I mean, short week again, maybe they don't play him with D-Hop coming back. Michael Thomas, not Justin Thomas, Michael Thomas, unlikely to play. And then Christian Olave needs to be cleared from concussion protocol. And I think guys are starting to take a little longer after the Tua news. So he should clear is the rumor. He's been in it for a week and quite a bit. So I think he'll play. Landry likely in, but they're all questionable. So Adam Troutman is questionable. And they say short week, likely not going to play again. So Juwan Johnson will lead the tight end corps, and then D-Hop's return. I think this is big news for them. They need a playmaker. They need a game, somebody to go explosive on this team to really, give them a spark moving forward. Their defense has played surprisingly well for them, and their offense has just lacked overall. Robbie Anderson coming over, I imagine he'll get very limited playing time. Learning a brand new system's tough, especially in a trade midweek. He's got 3 days. By the time he flies there, 2 days to learn this playbook. He'll get put in for 1 or 2 plays, that are very scripted to him. But I think it's doubtful he even plays, if at all. And he probably won't even get put into the DraftKings showdown. He might get added late, but it's unlikely. So let's move into this game. It's kind of an interesting one. In showdown, the quarterback, you can play 2 quarterbacks for the Saints, which is interesting to say, but Dalton's averaged about 15 DK points, and Taysom Hill the other game had 3 touchdowns, all different ways. I think he rushed 2, and then he threw 1. So he's kind of playing a lot. I think he's averaging about 6 carries a game. He's throwing 2 to 3 times a game. So I think he's playable with Andy Dalton, because he plays a tight end role too. He can catch passes as well. So it's very interesting to put Taysom Hill in alone or with Dalton. I think they're both playable depending on how you're stacking. This isn't a very good defense either way. I mean, they get lucky and Cardinals tend to put up points on defense, but they don't tend to stop much. Then we go to the other side. Kyler Murray finally hits the 100-yard bonus there last week with his legs. I think he's going to do this a lot more. He gets D-Hop back. I think he might be a must play with these weapons now. He just his floor this season, even in losing 4 games, is 20.8 DK points. That's his average, and he's surpassed that 3 times, I think. So he's almost like a must play with that upside in a showdown slate. But if you do fade him, you're hoping the Saints D, which is a very good run D, could stop him in that regard. So I guess you'll have to play the odds with how you put together your lineups. Running backs on the Cardinal side, I just said fade, get off of them. Even if Eno Benjamin plays, Connor plays, this defense tends to shut down running. We saw it with the Vikings, who averaged, I think, 20 total yards on the ground with, I think, 15 to 20 touches there in London against the Saints. They just tend to do a really good job bottling up the running game. I do think this leaves the opening for Kyler Murray to get more of his legs because the plays aren't as scripted for a quarterback. So that's kind of where I see that fitting. I don't really like the running backs on the Cardinals side. Kamara on the other side seems to be back 20 touches or more. I think he had 26 and 29 touches the last 2 games, back-to-back 6 reception games, averaging 20 DK points. Cardinals defense has been okay for points to give up to the running back, but this is a Kamara spot. If Dalton's in, he's dumping it off to him. He's getting his usage. Another great spot. Another guy to maybe lead your lineup with. Wide receiver, this is where it gets really long and hard with all the injuries and updates. But Marquise Brown, he's the volume hog, but I think he gets replaced by D-Hop. So I think you take D-Hop in this scenario. D-Hop's going to come back in, and then Brown and Rondale Moore's usage is just going to go down, I think, because he's going to consume that 10 to 15 targets that Marquise Brown has been getting. So I don't know if they start to make this a multi-headed wide receiver corp, but I do think D-Hop comes in and they maybe rest Marquise Brown with being in a walking boot. Rondale Moore's came in, and if Marquise Brown doesn't play, he's a great cheaper option. He's averaging 8 and 10 targets the last 2 games. He's actually really fast and quite good out of the backfield, even running. So, I mean, you can play him. If you go any deeper in this receiving corp, you're hoping for a touchdown. AJ Green's been whatever again, and Greg Dortch has kind of fallen off with Rondale Moore coming back. So those guys you're just hoping for the TD, and they're cheaper. D-Hop, I think, is the guy that's either going to spark or he's going to maybe get limited in how much his usage is. He's the real question mark. But I think if you're going to take a guy and, hope for a huge game, it's probably him. There's a lot of talk of Kyler Murray being excited because they need a playmaker. So I think they're going to light up the playbook with him. He seems like he's ready to go. On the other side, if Olave is back, I think you play him. Before he left, he was averaging 8 and 10, averaging 8 targets a game. He got in the end zone both of the last 2 games before he got hurt with a concussion. And a concussion's not going to limit you other than getting, hit quite hard. It's pretty rare that concussions, re-aggravate in the next game compared with an ankle. So hopefully he can play the whole game. And if he's in, he's kind of their weapon that they use. Outside of that, it's kind of a pick on this receiving core outside of Olave and Michael Thomas when he's in. Don't get much. They get, their 2, 3, 4 targets a game. Well, you hope whoever you picked got in the end zone, but that changes every week because Traquan Smith did it last week, but he only got 13 DK points. Landry has been kind of nothing all year. I don't know what really happened there. He used to be a safety blanket, but it seems like they're getting the usage out of Olave, and I don't really like these discounted wide receivers on the Saints side. I mean, you can take one and you're really just praying for the touchdown. Tight end is where it gets more interesting for both teams. Ertz has been very good all year. Great floor. He averages 10 to 16 points. So he falls right in that nice range in showdown. But I'm going to guess his price is going to be high and almost to a point where if we expect this to be point heavy, that, a guy at 12 points is probably not going to get you there. You need all the blow up spots. So I think that's more in the Kamara D-Hop range than it is in the Ertz. I think Ertz is a good filler, but pricing will probably restrict that. Here we go. Ready for that. Juwan Johnson is the tight end, probably starting on the other side. He got 4 targets last week, and Arizona's 31st ranked against tight end. I think this is a great spot for him to get in the end zone. So he's kind of the cheaper option I would take on the Saints side instead of taking one of those third receivers. So, great spot. Both these defenses are very playable. They both tend to get points, and they're very prone to getting a defensive touchdown. but both these teams run a ton of plays. So this is a good option to stack a defense against your quarterback like that was last week, because there's a chance they kind of intercept and go the distance. So that's kind of all the news. There's a lot on this game, and I'll kind of update you as the week goes on. But header to the double doinks.
Perfect. Yeah, we got not much exciting action here on the kicking front. We got on the Cardinals side, of course, Matt Prater out. So we got Matt Amendola, who has not been good. So I'm just saying right now, not the choice. Probably 2.5 fantasy points per game, as long as my calculations are correct. They could be wrong. And he was averaging before he got traded. I mean, not traded. He signed with the Cardinals. He started the year with KC. He only had 7 fantasy points per game. His long on the year, 23-yard field goal. So not getting much action. And if you are taking them, they're not utilizing them or getting the opportunities to get you those big points. And with KC, his long was only 31 yards. So same situation. It's only gone downhill. On the other side of the ball, however, different story. We got Will Lutz, 12.2 fantasy points per game. I think he got 14 points just for the Saints this past Sunday. So that's huge right there if you can get them working. He's hit 3 for 4 over 50 yards, including 160-yarder this year. So you know the distance is there. It's not a problem. I guess it really depends on, as I say that, I guess we always say this every week, but depends on your script and what you're going for. If you're mixing multiple lineups in, don't be afraid to throw Will in there. Especially if you think the Saints are going to get lots of opportunities. But anything else to add on? I'm a little bit sad you weren't giving so much love to my boy Traquan Smith. I was kind of considering him as my my sleeper pick on the Saints side.
Yeah, he could be. I mean, that's a tough sell if Olave is back. He kind of takes over in that deep threat game. I find, at least when he's played. I think Traquan could be the guy. Callaway could be the guy. They see these equal targets every game, and one of them usually gets in the end zone. So I don't know. I think take your shot on Traquan. Why not? But I would say just of note, Will Lutz, great comments on that. He always seems to get good. But the Arizona defense has scored 2 touchdowns so far this season. So be aware that you can stack them against, other, maybe Andy Dalton. Maybe you play the Swiss Army knife in Taysom Hill, my favorite play here. But it's a fun slate. It's finally a good slate that maybe both defenses won't be in the winning lineup.
And I'm giving you my Jack Easterby lock for captain of the week, DeAndre Hopkins. He's going to be the best play at captain spot. You see him trolling the Texans in the comments today when they announced they fired Easterby with just a laughing emoji face. He'll be fired up Thursday night. So I'm going him with my Jack Easterby lock for captain spot. Anything else to add in on this one, Taryn?
No. Have fun with this lineup. You got 3 quarterback options and tons of receivers.
Very unique situation this Thursday. Should be a fun one. Play a few fantasy lineups for this one. Keep it interesting. The game's going to be exciting too. Thanks for watching the content. We really appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoy it. Let us know who you're taking or what plays you guys are considering in the comments. If you have any questions, let us know. Taryn's pretty good at answering or updating throughout the week. If not myself, I will try to give you a legitimate answer and not a bad one. And then if you really enjoy our stuff, give us a subscribe. We're going for 250. I think we're 9 away. So we'll see you guys next week for week 8. See ya.
Peace.